Let's flip a coin. Heads or tails? 50-50 odds, right? What if I told you those are roughly the type of odds that a commercial honeybee colony has of surviving just 1 year? I'm sure you've all heard the honeybee spiel. They're important pollinators contributing billions to the U.S. economy through their pollination services on a number of different fruits, nuts, and vegetables, not to mention all the wildflowers they pollinate across our landscape. You probably have also heard that they're dying at a high rate. But do you know what the cause of all these colony losses are? Well, there are a variety of different stressors that impact honeybees: poor nutrition, pesticides, pathogens, just to name a few. The most agreed upon primary culprit is a parasitic mite appropriately named Varroa destructor. Varroa mites damage honeybees in multiple ways. The first is through feeding on honeybees throughout their life and removing bodily nutrients. Secondarily, this parasite can also serve as a vector, transmitting one of a potential number of different viruses which also impact honeybees' health. In human terms, relative to a honeybee's body size, a Varroa mite is like having a dinner plate strapped to your back while simultaneously having your blood drawn and being exposed to disease. In fact, research shows that essentially all honeybee colonies will die within 2 years and often less time if they're not treated for Varroa mites in some form of intervention. So what can beekeepers do for Varroa mites? Well, that's where my research comes in. As you might be able to imagine, it can be quite difficult to kill a mite on a bee. There are a lot of things that will kill both, but very few that will kill the mite, but not the bee. Furthermore, for what does work, the cost and time of application is an important factor. A hobby beekeeper with 10 colonies might not mind doing a treatment that takes 5 minutes per colony, as that equates to roughly about an hour out in the bee yard. But once you scale that up to a commercial beekeeper with, say, 10,000 colonies, it becomes unfeasible. For over 20 years, beekeepers were primarily able to use a singular treatment to control Varroa mites. But recently, as with most cases of continued reliance on one thing, resistance has developed. Coupled with the increases in viral transmissions for Varroa mites, and commercial beekeepers have seen higher losses than ever. When considering Varroa management, it is a bit like managing a football team. No team wins a championship by running the same play over and over again. Similarly, there's no silver bullet Varroa treatment that works perfectly for every colony condition or season. Successful beekeepers need the right treatment at the right time. They also need to rotate strategies to avoid losing effectiveness, and they need to combine multiple tactics into a season-long game plan. I work with commercial beekeepers and perform research to identify which treatments work best at different times of the year so commercial beekeepers can build a season-long playbook against Varroa. Overall, my goal is to build a year-long management regimens to optimize Varroa mite management on a commercial scale, which will hopefully help give honeybee colonies better than a 50-50 shot at survival.